Don Harris is something of an American saddlebred legend. Growing up in a small mining town in Indiana, there were two things that ruled Don's heart. Horses came first.
When I got old enough, was 4 years old, I started riding ponies like any kid.
Not far behind was a love for the state's favorite sporting pastime.
I was good enough that I was turned down a scholarship to Purdue University.
In the end, horses won him over.
My dad was in the coal mining business, and he had horses as a hobby. I showed in every little baseball diamond and cornfield in southern Indiana. One night, my dad came to the show and all these girls were cheering for me, you see. He said, "Boy, you sure got a good cheering section." I said, "Yeah, not too bad."
With encouragement from fans and loving parents, Don got his start in the American Saddlebred world, building a lifetime relationship with horses, one day at a time.
Now, my dad was enough horseman. He wasn't a show horse trainer, but he was as a young guy, he was a mule skinner, they call him. He drove mules in a coal mine. He wouldn't buy like finished and really broken horses. Problem horses, and let me work out those problems.
Don's reputation as a trainer grew, and in a few years, one of his clients convinced him to move to Kentucky, an admitted challenge for a lifelong Hoosier, but one that would put Don Harris Stables and the town of Simpsonville on the map.
Most everybody knows it's the saddlebred capital of the world, and I had as much to do with it as anybody, maybe a little more than most. The saddlebred is the only thing I trained and the only thing I ever wanted to train.
In the 3 decades that would follow, Don Harris would develop some of the most prominent American saddlebreds ever known, including champion Giddy Up Go, prize contender, champion protege, champion Sultan Starina,
Voted the three-gated horse of the century.
champion Imperator,
I think, and a lot of other people agree with me, he's the best 5-gated horse that ever lived.
and more. He racked up repeat championship titles in Lexington, Kansas City, and the most sought after, the Kentucky State Fair World's Championship Horse Show in Louisville.
And I'd had a lot of success before I ever won it. There's a lot of good trainers, that never win the big one at Louisville.
Always the consummate showman, Don has a knack for turning heads.
When he's on a horse, he's just so confident in what he's doing. Whether he's on the very best one or the very worst one, he's still just as confident during that class that he's winning. And everybody's got to beat him. I think he will always be the greatest showman that ever showed a horse in Freedom Hall.
Even his hat started getting attention.
I went to Saks Fifth Avenue and bought me a new hat. And all I did was put it on and turn the brim down. That's all.
Through the years, Don Harris has been named Horseman of the Year, inducted into the World's Championship Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Don Harris.
And honored as the American Saddlebred Horse Association's Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
It's put me in a world that's next thing to Hollywood. As far as the glamour of it, especially if you've had some success and you've always got a group around following you and fan mail.
Despite the red carpet welcome, Don remained a small town boy at heart. Family was a priority. His wife Judy, his children, grandchildren, and his late wife Roz. These days, Harris Stables is as busy as ever. After moving from Simpsonville to Cox's Creek a few years ago, Don learned that retirement wasn't in the cards.
He said he'd like to slow down, but we're not going to let him, even if we have to prop him up on the saddle and tape his feet in the stirrups.
Yeah. Well, Rick and Judy cooked up this deal about this barn. And I said, I want to think about that a little bit. But the next day, the poles were going up.
Even now, he's putting the finishing touches on a lifetime legacy.
Don, I have to say, is one of the few people that I've ever met that he just loves a horse. I think he was born loving horses. He'll die loving horses. I think that kind of love and compassion for something will take you as far as you want to go in life.